Hi, thank you for tuning in on another one of my videos. I'm James, and this video is called Simple Mobile, to buy or not to buy. Simple Mobile is an MVNO of the T-Mobile cellular network. For those of you that don't know what an MVNO is, it's this. It stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator. And all that means is that you're a cellular operator, but you don't own your own infrastructure like towers and things like that. In the United States, there's only 4 companies that own their own infrastructure. Those would be AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon. So when you buy cellular service from one of those companies, you're actually buying cellular service from the company that actually provides the service. If you buy it from anyone else, Simple Mobile, Cricket, Walmart, Straight Talk, any of those companies. As a matter of fact, even Google is thinking about getting in the business from what I read. If you buy from any one of those companies, you're actually buying it from a reseller of one of these other companies. And usually they'll tell you whose network they're kind of using, and they use it in their advertising. So Simple Mobile, they advertise that they use the T-Mobile network. And it's pretty extensive throughout the country. Here in Phoenix, the T-Mobile network is excellent. I've used it for about 3 years, and I've even made some videos on it. So I was kind of excited about seeing whether the Simple Mobile service was actually as good as the T-Mobile service, just at a lower cost. So what I did is I got a Simple Mobile SIM. I installed it in my smartphone here. And it is a dual SIM phone, so I had a T-Mobile SIM and a Simple Mobile SIM both in the phone, so I could switch back and forth between the two, look at the power meters between the two, see if there was any signal loss, and kind of switch back and forth as far as data to check data speeds and things like that, to kind of give me a good idea whether there was really any difference between the two services. So let's start with voice quality. Voice quality, as I thought it would be, was practically identical. The only noticeable difference I saw is that during peak hours, which in Phoenix, around 4 or 5 o'clock on the freeway, is rush hour traffic. Everyone is on their cell phone. I did notice that I did have maybe out of 5 days of rush hour traffic, there were maybe 2 or 3 days where I did have a drop call on the freeway. As maybe with the T-Mobile network, maybe I had 1. So, and that really did not surprise me. Usually, with all of these MVNO contracts, the primary customers of these cellular networks, they get priority. So when the networks are full, the first customers to get dropped, the first calls to drop, are going to be the MVNO customers. And so that didn't surprise me at all. It wasn't, it was something that I expected. And so I'm not going to downgrade a Simple Mobile too bad for that. And it wasn't all that pervasive. Most of the time, it was absolutely fine. All of my texts, I did receive all of my texts. As a matter of fact, I did receive a text from Simple Mobile today that there's a story behind that text, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Now let's get to the thing that usually kills my reviews as far as the MVNOs, and that would be the data. I found out that the most popular plan for Simple Mobile was the $50 plan. The $50 plan gives you unlimited text, unlimited talk, 4 gigs of high-speed data. There's also a plan for $40 that only gives you 2 gigs of high-speed data. But I went with the most popular plan because I wanted to see, hey, you know, let's go with the most popular plan. So, 4 gigs of data is a reasonable amount of data. I used a lot more data in a month only because of the business that I'm in. But for the average person, 4 gigs of data a month will probably get you through the whole entire month. You know, maybe watching a couple of videos, you know, streaming radio, watching some YouTube videos, and everything else like that. 4 gigs of data will probably get you through the month. So not an unreasonable amount. What I wanted to see is whether they would actually throttle my data before I reached the 4 gig threshold. What my policy, and this is just my own personal policy, is this. If I buy data from someone, whether it be T-Mobile, AT&T, Simple Mobile, if you're going to give me 4 gigs of data, give me 4 gigs of high-speed data if that's what you're selling me. After 4 gigs of high-speed data, throttle away. I have nothing to say. You have fulfilled your obligation to me. I used about, I'm going to say 1.5 gigs of data in about a 3-day period. Let's say in about a 2-day period, which is about normal for me. There was about for the whole entire 2-day period, I used Simple Mobile as far as data exclusively. So I used about 1.5 gigs to 2 gigs of data exclusively in that time period. And I noticed that after 2 days, they throttled me. So I called Simple Mobile. One other thing. I did notice, as far as, because I dealt with T-Mobile customer service, obviously it's not the same customer service. Simple Mobile customer service is not based here in the United States. Where they are, the people do try. I mean, I'm not like I'm a racist or anything else like that. The people do try, but you can kind of tell, you know, they're not Americans, and they really don't have a whole lot of decision-making capability as far as their job description. Not in their, not as far as people, as far as their job description. Because when I explained to them that, hey, I still have, on my plan, I still have another 2.5 gigs of high-speed data left, of high-speed data on my plan. What was explained to me was that my usage of my first 1.5 gigs was so fast that that was considered unacceptable. So I was throttled at that point until the end of the month. When my billing cycle comes up again and I give them another $50, then I can have my high-speed data again. And, while they didn't say it, I kind of got the impression that they were kind of saying, and hopefully you'll be more wise in your use of the data that you paid for. So that is something I really had a problem with, is that they throttled me well before my 4 gig threshold, and that I find that completely unacceptable. And as a matter of fact, this morning I received a text from them. And I know it was just a promotional text and it wasn't sent directly to me. But it was a Simple Mobile announcement. And I don't know if you can read it. Let me see. I don't know if it comes through clear. Probably won't come through clear. What it basically says is 10 gigs of LTE data for $50 if I enroll in auto re-up today. So now they're willing to give me 10 gigs of high-speed data for $50. I really have a problem with this, and this is why. You weren't willing to give me 4 gigs of high-speed data and let me use it how I wanted to use it. I wanted to use my 4 gigs of high-speed data, and I wanted to use it in 4 days. That was my goal. 4 gigs of high-speed data in 4 days. Throttle me the other 26 days of the month. Fine. That wasn't good enough for them. They wanted me to use my data how they saw fit. Now they want to give me 10. So that situation just kind of compounded it and made it worse. Going into this, I was going to probably give them a C minus because it is very, 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 very commonplace. It is very commonplace for all of the MVNOs to throttle people as far as their data. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong, but it is commonplace. And if you are going to go with one of these MVNOs, you can expect to be throttled. The fact that they throttle me early and then they want me to buy more data and they would probably do the same thing just makes it worse. So I'm going to give them a D. So if you do have a smartphone and you are going to be streaming Netflix, or you are going to be watching YouTube videos on there, or you are going to be using a lot of data, this may not be the service for you. If you're just interested in talking, texting, and maybe just updating your phone, who knows? This might be the service for you. Cost-wise, it is reasonable. You know, $40 a month, $50 a month, no contract, sure. My suggestion, or what I would do, is I would just probably pay, you know, the extra $15 and just go with T-Mobile service or even Sprint service. So that's basically it. I hope this video helped you out as far as your buying decisions. I tried to be fair, and so please give me a like and please subscribe. And if there's any other services out there that you'd like for me to review, please let me know, and I'll contact the companies and see if I can review their services. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.